welcome back to our channel. We are James and Keli, and we are converting our Ram ProMaster into a tiny home on wheels so that we can go to South America with our 2 cats.
In today's episode, we are building our 2 lower cabinets, which go on either side, one on our passenger side, one on our driver's side, and they have a bunch of customizable things that we are putting in them.
Yeah, we're going to be able to hold a stove, our sink, our cat's litter box, and access to our fuse panel for our electrics. Let's get to building.
We have printed out today's van build project, which is our oven cabinet, which is going on the driver's side of our van. Right now, the plan is to make the carcass. This cabinet is going to, one, hold our oven right here, and then it's going to have multiple storage places around it. So we'll have a nice big drawer right underneath our oven. We'll have a cabinet that we can open because on this side we'll also be accessing our electrical box. And then we'll have 3 drawers on top. We also plan to use the toe kick space underneath by making 2 drawers, and also our intake for our heating is going to be underneath this cabinet as well. So there's a lot of stuff going into this cabinet. Time to start building.
We're picking which side we want to use for our cabinet stove and what'll be visible. We always like to look at the grains. And this one looks like there is some sort of face of an animal. I see a wolf. But let us know what you see. It's pretty cool.
All of our side pieces cut for our stove cabinet. The first thing that we need to do now is cut our toe kicks. We're gonna have toe kicks for our counters because we're walking in a really tight space, and you really don't wanna have just a solid surface that goes all the way down because you'll be hitting your toes all the time.
We're ready to put together the base structure of our stove cabinet. So we have all the pieces that we need, which are our 2 sides with the toe kicks already cut in, the baseboard, and we have our bottom supports, which are going to be on either side of the toe kick and then one right in the middle. We're going to put all this together by using wood glue and pocket screws.
Underneath our baseboard, we have installed 2 pieces of wood that will provide support for it, and it'll help keep everything glued together. It's glued onto the sides and onto the baseboards, so if anything pushes the baseboard down, it'll keep it up nice and strong, and it'll also kind of keep the sides onto the bottom while we're still working on it. Now come in the van with me and look at the problem, because there's always a problem. Let's go. This sticks out more than everything else on this wall by like a ½ inch.
Just this piece?
Just right there, and it's 10.5 to 20.
Wow! This is what it's gonna look like.
Should have marked where. With our cabinet in, we can sort of see how it's going to fit in with our wall. There are a bunch of places where we're going to have to notch out our cabinet so it will fit flush with our wall. I've marked where all the notches need to be cut out on our cabinet, and I'm just going to cut them out using a jigsaw. We've got everything measured out, and we're now ready to connect all of our pieces for our oven cabinet. We're first going to start with this middle piece, this middle wall that'll separate our oven from the drawers. We're using all of the other pieces as spacers to make sure it's in the correct position, and now we get to glue it and screw it together. With our back supports in, we're now putting in our front supports for our oven cabinet, and we've already got the top one in. It's the easiest one to put in because we know it needs to be flush with the top. Our original plan was to have 3 drawers and a cabinet at the bottom. After visually putting all of these cross beams in for 3 drawers, we realized that the drawers were going to be like too small, and we didn't really want that size. So we've redesigned it to only have 2 drawers and a cabinet. Our top drawer we want to have as like a silverware and kitchen cutlery drawer, and then our second drawer will be, we haven't planned that one yet, and then a cabinet at the bottom. And we need the bottom one to be a cabinet because it needs to have a door that we can fully open so we can access our electrical fuse box.
We have just picked up our countertops that we got made from a custom woodworker here in our hometown. We got red oak, and he made it into just under 1 inch thick, so it's perfect for what we need. It's not too heavy, not too thick, and it's going to look really nice inside of our van. And we have them both to the size of our sink and our stove. And now that we have both of our countertops, we can start finalizing our stove cabinet. We wanted to wait until we had our countertop in because we wanted to make sure that we had the correct height for where our stove is going to sit inside of this cabinet to compare to where the tabletop is going to be, or where the countertop is going to be. Right now you're looking at the bottom part of our stove cabinet. We are installing the support for where our stove is going to sit. We have added this front facing support bar that is at the front of the cabinet, what we will see. And we are now going to add these 2 side supports. So they'll go on either side of this board. The reason we are putting all the supports on the outer side of the board is because that is where all the weight is for the stove. We have finished our stove cabinet carcass. We have it perfectly made so that our countertop can fit snug right under these lips. We have room for some drawers, storage.
It does look like with the size of the oven, we might have to do some adjustments on our drawers on that right side, but not too much. And the oven fits perfectly in the space. So our first time building a cabinet, I think it's a success. Pretty awesome. We have already planned out our sink cabinet and I have drawn it up on SketchUp already. This is the SketchUp drawing of the carcass of our sink cabinet. You can see I have the sink set in right here. It's a top set in sink. And then below that we have a space for our cat's litter box, and I also included a kind of step for them to climb into and climb out of the litter box. Above that we have a shelf that separates the litter box area from kind of like a storage area underneath the sink. And then we have our tall kind of area that we're not quite sure what we're going to do with yet. I finished cutting our floor and middle piece out of 1/2-inch birch plywood. I started off cutting them to depth on the table saw, and then I cut the lengths that I needed on a track saw. My track saw was not giving a 90-degree perfect angle, so I went back through with a cross-cutting sled and just made sure that all of the edges are perfectly 90 degrees. Now we're going to work on cutting out the side pieces. We've made a little template for the opening for the litter box here. It's going to be in the side of the cabinet. So our template is written on there and we're looking at it and it kind of looks a little small to us. But we're going to go ahead and cut it out for this length, and then if we need to make it bigger, we can. Kelly and I were just discussing, we're going to cut it out, bring it home, and see if our cats can fit through it. And if they can, then it works. If not, then we'll make it bigger. For our cat entrance, we do want like a nice curve at the top. So I'm switching to a kind of scroll blade on the jigsaw to just cut a nice smooth curve.
Okay, fine.
Go that way.
Here. We did look online at some like countertop or like cat cabinets with the litter boxes in it. Look at the standard size of those, and a lot of them are 8 inches wide or 9 inches. So we're gonna expand our door entry maybe an inch or two.
With all of our pieces now cut, we're going to go ahead and put together the two sides and our bottom piece to make the U carcass and one of the back supports that'll hold it together. We'll then wait for all the glue to dry before we add any more parts. In normal cabinet making, most people make a groove on the sides for their floorboard to move into, so when they screw in the floorboard, it stays in there. But because we're using 1/2-inch plywood, we're not putting in a groove first. So what we're going to do is clamp in some stops on the top. First thing I'm going to do is mark where I want my stop to be. The bottom board is 1/2 inch thick. We've cut our toe kick to be 3.5 inches tall, so this board should be at 4 inches, so I'm just going to mark at 4 inches on each side. Okay. We went ahead and put some 2x4s underneath so we could fit a clamp on the bottom side. That way we can have clamps on both sides of the stop. And the main purpose of the stop is when you're using pocket hole screws, when you drill in with them, they actually tend to push the wood upwards. And we've learned that from experience that if you don't have something stopping the wood from going up, it won't stay where you want it to be.
Before we add the other side piece, we are going to add our back support in. This is so that when we glue and screw our side piece in, both edges have support and they're going to stay at a 90-degree angle. What we learned in our stove cabinet is the top part was not fully flush, and so we had to squeeze them together. Could be because our boards were warped, but this way it'll ensure that everything is at a 90-degree, having both the bottom and the top support.
The last step that we're going to do today is put on the bottom floor supports, the floor of the cabinet, because again, we're using 1/2-inch plywood and we did not put the grooves in. There's nothing that really holds the floor up besides the screws and the glue, which is coming at a perpendicular angle, which is not what you want. It's not the strongest. So what I'm going to do is add some additional support right underneath using some of our 3/4 inch plywood. And we're just going to glue it and screw it to the side, and it'll provide enough strength for everything that we need.
The base is now finished for our sink cabinet. We are going to let this dry for 24 hours so that the glue can cure and we don't mess with any of the screws before we go about adding anything else to our sink cabinet. So we will see you when we come back to work on it. We're back to working on our sink cabinet today. We are going to try and finish it off by putting in the shelving units, the middle board, and some additional supports where our drawers are going to be. With our shelf that we're going to use for our cat's litter box cut out, we have decided kind of the design we're going to go with for the step into our cat's litter box. We want them to have some sort of ledge to hop into. Once the litter doesn't track outside, it kind of hopefully will flow back into the litter box. That's our goal. And just to give it not such of a high hop into it. This is kind of our plan. So this ledge will kind of start right here and it'll round around. So this can be where they step on, and then it'll be supported in the back and along this side right there. The rest of this area will be a litter box. They'll be able to use this section, and then underneath it'll still be a square of a litter box or rectangle that they can hopefully grab the litter from.
cute. With the 2 middle shelves now ready, we're gonna go ahead and prep the middle wall that we have on our shelf. So first thing I need to do is notch out where this back support is. I'm gonna do this on the bandsaw. Should be nice, quick, and easy. All of these support pieces are now in. We did not end up putting our shelf in today, the top shelf, because we're gonna think about how we're gonna do our sink and the plumbing there before we install that. But we do have the carcass pretty much built. We've brought our sink cabinet back home, and just like we did our oven cabinet, we have to notch out a couple of the boards because our bed board comes out from the wall.
So we have gone from extremely hot weather to cold weather, which is why I am wearing my hoodie and sweatpants within like a day. Good old Midwest weather. But we are back out to finish prepping our sink cabinet for painting. The last few steps we're going to do is we're going to sand it, make sure all of the edges are flush with each other, there's no unevenness, and then we are going to edge band any of the plywood faces that we're going to be able to see when we pull out drawers or even like where the cabinet is. This is the edge banding we bought. We just got it off of Amazon. It came within a day, good old Prime membership, and we are just going to attach it by using an iron.
Thing I'm doing before putting together all the drawers is putting in this groove on the front face of each drawer. The reason for this is because we are using a magnetic locking system, so it's going to sit at the top of the frame of the cabinet. So I need a little space for the drawer to close and the magnet to sit there. We put together one of our drawers to test to make sure that it fits inside our cabinet. We just have the sides put together right now. But what we're going to do is put in the slides and then make sure that it fits. And if it fits, then we're going to go ahead and put them all together and put in our drawers today. Difficult to pull out. We have test fitted our drawers, and in order to put these in, we had to put in 2 runners on our stove cabinet here. This runner is basically just a piece of wood that runs from the front to the back It's like a spacer because we had a lip at the front of our cabinet right here, so I just needed a 1/2 inch spacer. So now we're ready to go ahead and put all of our drawers together.
Putting the bottom of our drawers into the first drawer that we've made, and we do know that we've made it slightly different than most drawers. Instead of using a dado, we are just putting our bottom board on top of the drawer using pocket holes and wood glue. That should be strong enough to hold everything in. Yeah, we could have done it a different way, but we already pre-cut and then realized our mistake, and we're like, well, too late now.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be just as strong.
Yeah, this should still be strong enough for what we want, so we don't care if it's not the correct way.
Yeah.
Of the drawer.
We are working on the drawers for our sink cabinet now, and because this side's going to be our litter box, we only have 2 drawers. This one is small but deep. The bottom one is very long, so we're going to make it 1 long drawer but 2 racks. So top rack will be for spices, and then the bottom will be for flour, sugar, baking things, oil, anything tall that we need to fit in our cabinet.
To build our 2-rack drawer, I first cut 4 boards that we're going to use. I cut 2 boards that will be the front and back wall of the rack, and then 2 boards that will be the 2 base boards of the rack. Each base board will have a rail or a side board that'll go and attach to it. For our bottom piece, I'm adding in 2 side blocks. These will help keep the bottom piece a little bit more rigid and square at the bottom, because this is what will be holding all of the weight for the drawer. This glue is cold. To put on the top piece, I cut this spacer, which is 12 inches, which is the distance that we want from the bottom to the top. I just set it down and then mark where I need this top piece to be. And then I'll clamp on this backer on the top side to stop this board from moving up when we tighten the pocket hole screws. We have done all of our big drawers now, but we still have a couple more to do, which is our toe kick drawers. Because we have toe kick space, we want to be able to use that and not just have it as like dead space underneath our cabinet. So we're making some drawers. For these drawers, we're making them the normal way. So I'm about to put a dado in these about 1/4 of an inch in, so I can slip a piece of 1/4 inch plywood into this drawer. How I'm doing it is I'm getting a piece of 1/4 inch plywood and I'm using this as my depth guide. So with the blade, I want it to come just right at the top of this, so I know it's 1/4 of an inch cutting in. And then I'm going to set it at 1/4 of an inch on the guard. I'll make a cut through all of the pieces, and then I'll move the guard about 1/8 of an inch away, and then run through it again, and that'll give me 1/4 of an inch dado into all of the pieces of wood. For our toe kick drawers, because they're so short, I'm just going to be putting them together using some wood glue and some brad nails. So I'm just kind of going to press them together like this and shoot some nails in. With all of the drawer boxes made, we're going to go ahead and start working on the faces for them. We're making the faces out of 3/4 inch aspen wood. For each face, we're making them 1/4 inch longer on each side of the opening for each drawer. That way it covers the entire hole. And we're just using an arm saw and a table saw to make all of them. And then we're going to give them an edge profile with our router.
Cabinet time! We are going to put in our stove and sink cabinets, put in the drawers, the drawer faces, the handles, and do everything up until it comes to fully fixing it to the van's walls and putting in our countertop. We're not going to put the countertops in at this moment in time because we still have quite a bit to do in our van and we don't want to ruin our countertops once they are in. So that'll be in a later video. So let's get to putting our cabinets together. We're moving the stove cabinet into place, and down here we have a bunch of cords, our intake hose for our heater, and a lot of stuff that is in the way, which is why James made that indent in the backing. Our intake vent that we have is right here. Luckily, the stove doesn't sit all the way back. James made this long enough so that there is enough room for our intake vent to sit behind the stove. These cords won't be there. We'll fix them later. But on this side right here, this is where our electrical fuse box is. So this is kind of like how we're going to get to it if we ever have any fuses that we have to fix. That was the best solution we could come up with, but I don't think it'll be that bad. Hopefully we never have to touch it, or it will be kind of annoying. And then we have the intake vent coming out right here. We'll have a CO2 carbon monoxide detector right next to it, so that takes away from us having a toe kick drawer right there. But we do have this one. We have a toe kick drawer right here. It's kind of short, but I think it fits some stuff in it.
Gotta push through. Nice. Man, they look so good, Ed. It's
They
almost
do.
like we could keep them like this.
No.
With our drawers now in, we can now attach the faces to them. How I'm doing that is I'm just going on the back and finding the center line, making a nice crosshairs right here, because we're going to use the jig that I use to put in these handles for our upper cabinets. And I've kind of put in lines on the side and the bottom here to match up with the center lines. So once I got that matched up, then we can drill holes in from the back, and then we'll have 2 perfect holes for the handle and the front. Do the other side real quick. We've got 3 drawers installed in our stove cabinet, and we've got our sink cabinet in here. We're going to install the rest of the drawers, including the toe kick of our sink drawer and this cabinet door tomorrow. It is actually the day before Thanksgiving right now, so we're going to go inside and enjoy some time with our family and then come back out tomorrow morning before we head out to more Thanksgiving festivities.
I love it. Good morning. It is nice and cold inside of our van. It is 30. It started off as 32 degrees in here. We've turned the heat on. We're now at 34 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just above freezing. So it is cold in here, but we are going to try and get our sink drawers in and all of the faces before we have more Thanksgiving celebrations. And if we get time today, we might be able to work on a little bit of extra tasks, but not sure how long it's going to take us to. It probably won't take us that long. We only have 3 drawers to install.
Oh, it's dead. The battery died.
We need to go get the charger. Maybe that.
Alright.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Ooh, it's a little tight. Pop out.
Oh, high five on that. We did great on those measurements.
Yeah, we did. With our drawers in, we're now going to add the locking mechanism, which is this magnet that we have. It's a 2-piece part. It's got the part that attaches to the cabinet and then a part that attaches to the drawer face. It's just a really strong magnet that'll make sure the drawers stay closed as we're driving. And all we do is just kind of screw it in. So we're gonna add these real quick. And if you remember, we put in little spaces in our drawer here at the front here, specifically for this locking mechanism. So when it closes, there's space for it. There's even enough space for my fingers to go into it. A slight oversight in building our drawers. So I made this on the front side thinking that, oh, that's just perfect and we don't need it on the back. But now I've realized I can't take out the drawers if I put this in because our back is solid and it'll just hit it. So now, if I install this, I either won't be able to take out the drawers or I have to put in the cut angle at the back here too. And I think we're going to have to take out all the drawers and make small cuts in the back.
At least there's only 1, 2, or 1, 2. At least there's only 4 you have to do.
I've gone through all of our drawers and flush bitted the back of them so it matches the front kind of curve in. That way it won't interfere with us taking them out with the magnet locks in. So now we're going to go ahead and put the magnets in. So our drawers will be completely shut and locked and secure when they're closed. I've installed one right now as a test one just to make sure that everything's going to work all right. And these are actually really strong magnets. Like when it's shut, it's staying shut. And to open it, because our cabinet's not even attached right now, I have to hold the cabinet down to open it. It's that strong. If I don't, it'll move the entire cabinet. These are pretty strong magnets, and they're fairly easy to put on. The first thing that you need to do is find the spot. So how I did that is I put our drawer in, all the way in, and then I set the magnet in the location where we want it, and right up against the drawer. And then I'll use a pencil to mark where the holes are. Let me center it a bit more. Okay, once I get the holes done, now I take the drawer out and I'll install this underneath. I put in the metal piece a little bit loosely. I didn't tighten the screws all the way, mostly because I want to get it in the exact spot where it needs to be. So I'm putting the drawer back in and closing it all the way. So now the metal piece is exactly where it should be when the drawer is fully closed. So I'm going to take off the drawer one last time and tighten the screws that hold the magnet completely. Okay.
The magnets do come with some adhesive tape, but we're not using this because it takes 12 hours to cure before you can pull it apart. So we bought Scotch Mount Extreme Tape, and we are just cutting down small pieces, kind of about the size of the magnet itself, and taping it to the magnet, and then kind of peeling it off. And once it's attached to the magnet, we close the drawer, hold it for 60 seconds, and then we pull it off. And then this magnet actually will attach to this drawer face, so we know it's centered and where it needs to be, instead of trying to match up these holes and make it perfect and all those measurements. It is a little bit easier. Doesn't really have to be perfect either, because you're never going to really see that. Alrighty.
Okay.
Now we hold it for 60 seconds. We'll be back.
3.
Hey Siri, hey Siri, set a timer for 1 minute. It is up, and now we'll pull it apart, and it sticks. So now we can just drill in the holes and screw it in so it is fully secure. So much easier.
Here we go.
We now have all of our drawer locks in. These magnets are pretty dang strong, and I don't see them opening up as we are driving on the road. So those are nice and secure. Our lower cabinets are as finished as they can be for this part of our van build, because we still need to secure them to the wall and put in our countertops, but we don't want to do that just yet because there are a few little things that we need to do in the van, like our plumbing and our propane, before we can actually secure anything to our walls.
We are super happy with our lower cabinets though. They ended up looking great and just what we need. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to our channel to check out our entire van build series. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye!
See ya!
Oh.
hurt. It's so cold.